It's time to begin. Method plays.
I am hard on the brakes, by the way. Welcome everybody. In this episode, I'm going to take this AW Astro and I'm going to make it as quick as physically possible. Now, there's not very many rules for this. All we're going to do is run it until we can't run it no more. I'm not running an indestructible block or anything like that. It's very much the parts that the vehicle obviously comes with. It's going to be a bit of a mini-series, you know, a little bit of easier watching, a little bit more light-hearted than obviously the career and stuff that we're doing. The general rules are we're going to run through the vehicle list that I've got. You know, obviously I'm starting at the top just because, well, I didn't know where to start. So, and we're not going to do all the vehicles, so obviously I'm not going to touch the heavy machinery stuff. There's obviously the forklift I'm not going to bother touching. You know, so there will be some in here that I'm not going to do, but majority of these will be touched. We will have a play with them to see what we can get out of them, obviously. So we'll go through them, we'll run them until we can't get a better time out of them and go from there. Now with the Astro, I've picked the base model, the 1 litre, I think it's just called the 1 litre manual. You know, obviously there are variants in these cars. Obviously some of these have quite a few variants. It isn't really going to matter what I pick. Some of them I might pick something that's more orientated to what I want. But like this Astro, there is nothing here, you know, that's an obvious drag one. So I'm not really bothered. So yeah, that's the plan. Just something a little bit nice to watch. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this little 1 litre that we've got. I'm going to run a baseline time, just see what it runs standard, and then we'll see where we end up on the end. Now, like I said, we've not got any mods that'll make this indestructible, so we are going to be playing with traction issues potentially, and you know, engine limitations. You know, depending on the vehicle, depending on what vehicles we're running with. So there we are. We're lined up. We'll get this revved up, and we'll see what time we run on this.
A few moments later.
And we're finally about to cross the line. We didn't actually break the 60 mile an hour mark down that. We ran a 22.23 on the quarter mile. Wow, that was phenomenal. 48 mile an hour? No, 58 mile an hour. So it's not particularly fast, but you know, we expected that. It's got 43 horsepower and it weighs just under a ton. So it is nice to obviously have that down there at all times, so we can see exactly what we're doing with this. We'll just get rid of that, and there we go then. So our base line for this is 22.2 seconds. I think we'll be able to shave a fair amount off that. So we'll go back to the start, partly because I don't know where my rewind button is and I really don't want to figure out where it is. I can't be bothered, so we're going to drive it back and we're going to get to modifying this thing. We'll see what we get out of it, and we'll ignore that ugly colour there. That's literally there because I spawned it in the wrong colour and I wasn't happy with the colour choice. We all know yellow is fast, so right, there we go then. So let's jump into the vehicle config. Let's have a play. So first things first with this, I'm going to pull weight out of it. So I want to pull the rear seats out of it, the passenger seat. Well, the aim is to go as fast as possible, you know, so anything that isn't necessary is simply coming out. There we go. The driver's seat will be made as a race seat. There we go. Rear seats, don't need them. Now, there are going to be certain things I'm not going to take off it. I'm not going to strip it of glass and, you know, doors, you know, certain stuff. I want it to still look like a car. The bonnet will come off, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, certain things I'm not obviously going to take off. There is just no need. I think we'll put steering wheel in there just because. And yeah, it's very much a case, if I want it to still look like a car by the time we're done, I don't want a rolling chassis. But you know, there's certain things we can get rid of. So there we go. Seats are out. That will have lowered our weight slightly. Right, what's next on this? I think we'll get rid of the hood. Do we put carbon? No, we won't put carbon fibre on it. So there's the hood. Hood's off. Panels. So in terms of stripping the body down for weight, I think that's about as extreme as we're going to go with it. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to take too much off it. I'm not taking lights and stuff out unless we need to, but we shouldn't need to. So I think we'll leave it like that for now. We're going to go and do another run. And we'll see how much weight we've removed. Okay, so we've dropped almost 100 kilo of weight. So we'll see what that does in terms of a time. So we ran a 22.2 before. So I mean, anything better than that really. Removing 100 kilo is actually quite a lot. There's not a lot of coral in the first place. So to say that what we've done is remove that, I'm pretty impressed with. So we'll see how she runs now. Might even break the 60 mile an hour mark. So I'll still not going to take us, 3 seconds. So I'll meet you guys at the end of the track and we'll see exactly what we've run. And there we go. So we've shaved off 0.6 of a second. We did just about break the 60 mile an hour mark, so not too shabby in the slightest, I'd say. 21.6, we've removed 100 kilo weight. Our obvious factor here for obviously not being fast is the lack of horsepower. But yeah, I know with possibly some of the upgrades we're going to do, we're going to add weight back to this, but I mean, if we can keep it under 1,000 kilo, that'd be quite nice, I imagine. So we'll head back down to the strip. I'll jump back into the menu and we'll I think the next protocol is start adding some power to this thing. Alright, so we're back in the menu. Right, so we've got the engine here. Now we could mess around with the 1 litre. Yeah, we could put turbo on the 1 litre engine, but I feel like we're just going to be wasting our time. So let's see what engines we've got to play with. So we could put 2.8 VR6 engine in it, to VR5 engine, diesel engine, dual overhead cam 1.8. What's that? Is that? Okay, so that's, yeah, I know what engine that's based off. That's fine. So we've got a VR6 engine. Oh, that's a beautiful sound. I think what I'm going to do to start with, a little bit unusual, but I want to see what this diesel engine's capable of doing. Alright, so in editing, and this was a stupid idea to even attempt the diesel. We ran it down the strip, put too much nitrous in it, blew it up, and jumped straight to put in the VR6 in it. It's a waste of content, not including it. Alright guys, so we're back at the start. We've put the VR6 2.8 in it, and we've put a petrol tank back in it. Now I'm just looking through the dashboard. I think we can remove some of this stuff for extra weight. Don't need stereo. Don't need an AC control panel. Don't even need a gauge cluster really, but we'll put that to mile per hour. Lower dash, can we get rid of that? No. Huh, okay. Well, got rid of it for a little bit more weight. That won't really add up to anything, but something's better than nothing. Front bumper support, what's that? Yeah, let's stick an oil cooler on it. I don't know where that's been added to actually. Maybe we'll take that off. Yeah. Invisible part by the looks of things. So, right, the 2.8's in it. Like I said, I've put the fuel tank back in, so we're happy with all that. Right, first things first, do we just do a run with it as is? I think so. Let's give it a run. So we're making 190 horsepower. Which is a massive improvement to what we had before, and we're 904 kilo. Now that'll be because this is a heavy engine. Definitely heavier than the 1 litre and the 1.9, so, but we'll line it up. There we go. Oh. We spunt ever so slightly. Let's try that again. Now she's moving. Oh yeah, she's got a little bit of power in her now. That's a 13.1 second. Wow, brought that time down massively. Obviously we never actually got a number off the diesel because we blew it up before we got to the end, so. But I mean, 60 foot's terrible, which is to be expected, it just can't grip. Wow, you could definitely feel the weight in the front of this. But yeah, quarter mile, 106 mile an hour. Yeah, I'm happy with those results. Definitely going along the wrong way, the right way now, so. Right, so we'll take this back down to the start and we'll start chucking a bit of power in it. I think we'll put possibly some tyres on it as well now, I think. Grip is definitely an issue, but what a little zipper, eh? What a little zipper indeed. Right, let's go into the config. So, because I will forget, we're going to go straight on to the where are we? Front suspension. And I want to put on some wheels, so we're going to stick the 15x10s on, which are going to be down here somewhere. By 10, there they are. So let's put the older drags on. Beautiful. And let's put some 24s, I think, might be slightly better for this. Tyres just look a little bit too big, so I'm thinking 24s. They fit very, very well in those arches. It looks as it should be. So, right, wheels are done. We'll come off that. We'll go back up to the engine and we'll start pushing some power through it. Engine. We're gonna jump straight to a proper box. We'll do a race 6-speed. I want a limited slip front diff. Ultralight flywheel. Can we? Is this giving us the? Oh, so we can actually go all-wheel drive with this. That might be something we end up doing. We'll leave that for now. We may revisit that at some point though, and this might end up all-wheel drive. See what sort of power we can get out of the engine first. So, adjustable race ECU. Go stage 2 performance long block. Exhaust. Take the exhaust off it. Turbo. Stinger manifold. Right, we've got no nitrous on it at the moment. Let's see what sort of power we're making. 453 horsepower. Right, let's give this a run. Yeah, this should break 10 seconds, I imagine. Oh, 11.66. It's having issues keeping the front end planted, and especially off the front. Oh. A little bump. And we stalled it. Yeah, it's struggling to keep the front planted, I've noticed, but that's fine. That can all be adjusted. So we'll drive this back down to the end. And we'll do a little bit of fiddling now to get it to launch a little bit better, I think. Alright, so we've got it back here. So we're going to jump straight in now. Obviously we've got the engine fully built. We've put no nitrous on it yet. Now what I do need to do is figure out where the... here it is. So I want the final drive, and we're going to have to put a race adjustable final drive on that. Definitely. I want to come off that. So I now need to go into the front suspension. I need to stop it from bouncing around as much as it was before. So don't want it lifted. I want to go into here. Front struts. We'll put race front struts on it to give us tuning capability. Front sway bar. I want a race front sway bar as well. Now on the rear, I'm thinking for, in terms of drag primarily, I want to take the wheels off it, and I want to run some skinny rear wheels. And they should have. I can't remember where the skinny wheels are on this, but there should be a set of skinnies somewhere. They might be slightly smaller than 15. There might be some of these 14s. But I just want to keep the... Yeah, we're on 13x5, so I need smaller than that, really. I mean, we could put 12x4s on it. That's not quite what I was looking for, but I mean, if it works, it works. Yep, we'll run them for now. Again, they're just they're just trolley wheels almost on the back. You know, we just want wheels there. So, right, I've got the new limited final drive in it, should I say. I've got race suspension on it now, so I'm happy with the way that's all set up. I think the next thing to do here is go into the tuning. We're going to drop that final drive right down to about 3.44. That'll do. Just want to drop the idle down slightly. Rev limit can come up right up. And the wastegate pressure can also be turned up as well, which is nice. So what can we turn that up to? Let's turn that right up. I'm going to drop the... Just trying to remember how we do this now. So the bump dampening needs to be a touch softer. It's been a minute since I've tuned for drag. There we go. Just making just under 700 horsepower now. Right, let's line this up. And that's twice now I've done that. Right, we're lined up. Okay, so I now can't launch it without trans brake, which I don't want to put on it. Yeah, it's definitely pulling a lot better now. That's a 9.8. Yeah, that's pretty good. Absolutely decimated that rear wheel. So let's look at the stats there. So we run a 9.8 at 160 mile an hour. 60 foot's still quite slow though. Need to bring that 60 foot down definitely. So okay, so we'll take this to the start. And we'll have a play. We'll see how much more we can bring that down. Don't think it's a power issue, but you know, I've got a little trick up my sleeve. So I'll meet you guys back down there and we'll see what the next sort of plan is. Alright then, so back in the menu now. I want to add, I can't see it on here, but there's no option for engine mounts here. Which is a little bit unusual. So, right, what we can do, we're going to jump in some nitrous. Put Mio's Shrek nitrous injector kit onto it. Now we've got to be careful with the power we put through this. But what I am going to do is I'm doing it, committing. I'm going to go to a race all-wheel drive transfer case.
Yeah, boy.
Now, what we're going to have to do is jump out of the engine, go down to the rear suspension. There's a couple of things we'll need to change in here. Primarily the wheels. That should be where I'm starting to start with. Anywhere else would be stupid. So let's go through the wheels, find out what wheels would be ideal to run on this. Again, I'm thinking 15 by 10s. Keep it on the, the same all the way around. But so they should just be here somewhere. There they are. So we've got the drag wheels on the back now. That's fine. I just need the 24s. Perfect. Now I need to set up the race rear sway bar. Rear differential needs to be a limited slip diff. Oh, it isn't giving me that. There is rear drive shaft, rear half shafts. Now I don't think any of this could be made any stronger now, but we will put a race adjustable on the rear as well. And of course we're going to put the race rear coilovers on it. Now we're going to jump into tuning real quick. Now the torque split is 50-50, that's fine. The final drive for these both need to be set to the same. or there or thereabouts. I'm not going to mess with that. That's going to be good enough for what we need. But most importantly, we need to come down and mess with... Nope, actually 100 kilowatt shot, that's what I want to put through it to start with. So there we go. So we're on the nitrous and we're all-wheel drive now. Let's see what sort of time we can get out of this. It's going to be a bit of a monster now. Yeah, I definitely can't launch it without a trans brake. I don't want to put a trans brake on it. So that's an 8.7. With just over a ton, 1,004 kilo, at 830 horsepower. So bit of a beast.
That's what she said.
But at 800 horsepower, we should be a lot quicker. Well, maybe. In the 64 isn't too bad. Maybe it's the gearing. Might just extend that phone drive just a little bit more, put a little bit more power through it with the nitrous. See how we get on with it. But definitely quicker, a lot quicker than what it was when it was a little 1 litre, put it that way. I'm not running 22 seconds anymore. I know, these brakes are absolutely ruined. We don't need brakes for a drag car. Built to go fast. Alright, so we'll line this up. I'll jump into the tuning quickly. Gonna extend the final drives a little bit more. Thinking maybe a dead 3. And the added power, I'd like to just bump up just a touch. I say that, I'm going to double it. Just a touch is not doubling it, but that's what we're doing. So we're now running 962 horsepower. And we've got longer drive. So we're almost on a 1-to-1 power weight ratio, so we'll line it up. That wasn't a proper launch, I don't know what happened there. Well, it's taking the 200 shot easy. 8.84, so I think that was actually slower than what we've ran. Now we have got engine issues, and I didn't actually see what come up on it, but I think that might have been an over torque risk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it down here. Coolant overheating. Is that what it is? Is that what we're suffering from? I think so. Well, that's easily rectified. We'll throw a better radiator in it. So let's do that. Radiator, high performance radiator. Car will magically spawn out the ground. Perfect. More nitrous. It's taking what we've put in it so far, so let's add a little bit more. That is not what I meant by a little bit more. I mean, we're going to blow it up, so let's put a 500 shot through and see how it gets on. I am going to lower these down to be fair, that's about where I was aiming for, a 2.8, so let's just drop them down to a 2.8 both. Let's apply that setting, there we go. So we're now making 1,359 horsepower at 1,005 kilos, so we're now over the 1-to-1 power to rate ratio. Something tells me we're going to run into issues here. Yeah, over torque risk, and there we go. So we still run a 9.7. Wow, okay. Now, we kind of figured that'd be the case. You know, 400 kilowatt is far too much, but we definitely know now that that's too much power, so that's fine. Now we work backwards. So let's drop that down to 4. Let's see how we get on with that. Yeah. Still on over torque risk. Yep, so we're still blowing it up in. That's fine. I'd rather do it now than after because I want to get a good run. Let's have a look. So maybe drop it down to 3. I really want to push the most out of this car, you know, so we'll try a 300 shot. That's still putting us over the 1-to-1 ratio. We're at just under 1100 horsepower and just over 1000 kilos, so let's line her up, let's run this. It's all about nailing this launch, I think, is a key thing. That was an 8.66. That was a slow 60 foot though. Just looking at the statistics here, so we run a 182. But that's quite a slow 60 foot, so maybe just need to bring the final drive up a touch. And I flipped it. Yeah, so let's do that. We'll bring the... I'm gonna increase the power. But I do also want to bring the gear ratios up just a little bit more. So let's take them up to 292. Let's try that. And the nitrous I want to just put... We'll go for 350. We did have an over torque risk, but didn't blow up down the strip, and that's all I care about. So we'll do 325. We'll meet it in the middle. Are you able to handle 325? That's my question. Right, so we'll flip this over and I'll meet you guys back down at the start of the track. Alright, so back down at the start. I've also remembered what my rewind button was, which is nice. Just ignore all that. That would have been from me messing, I imagine, but that's fine. Right, let's line it up. .49. 8.5 flat. These brakes just don't stop. Alright, cool. So that was an 8.5. Still haven't blown it up yet though, so I'm thinking back into tuning. We'll put a little bit more power through it. Gearing's perfect, absolutely perfect. So don't want to mess with this too much. Let's just bring it down up to 350. And let's try that. I honestly thought we'd get more out of this, but I'm doing something wrong and I just can't figure out what it is. That's an 8.48. I think that's the best we've ran so far. It's that 60 foot, man. Cannot... Okay, enough of that. Yeah, I just can't get that 60 foot down. What can I do to improve the 60 foot? I'll tell you what, I'm going to up the final drive just a touch more. Up that all the way. Just gonna up the that's what I want, 296. I've also turned the power lock ratio all the way up to 100, which might be a problem, but we'll see. I'll line it up. Yeah, it's definitely slower. It's all about getting it to somewhat spin off the line, but at the same time launch. I'm going to mess around with this for a little bit, guys, and I'll bring you back once I think I'm onto a bit more of a winner.
2,000 years later.
I think me possibly overhanging on the revs isn't great either, so let's line it up again. Let's try and get those gear changes right. No, it just can't take. That was a 756, man. If it just didn't blow up at the end. Alright, let's bring the power down just a touch. We're so close to it not blowing up on us, and we're so close to breaking that speed. Right, 380. Right, let's go back to the start line. And we'll back it up from here. The room wants to play it up, so. Alright, so. We're on the line. Let's go for it. That was a 746 and we blew it up. 747. I'm taking that. It's a 1.160 foot with a 275 mile an hour across the line. Yep, I'm more than happy with that run. Perfect. Yep, more than happy with that. So we've ran a sub 7.5 second. Oops. Yep, ran sub 7.5 seconds, which is really good. And yeah, I'm going to claim that as the fastest we're going to make it. That took a lot of tuning, especially towards the end, a lot of fiddling. I know if I spent some more time on it, I could definitely get it to a better, better standard. I could possibly shave up a little bit more time, but realistically, I think that's going to be as close as we're going to get it, within reason, and without spending all that time. But yeah, we can use the screen car because what we can do. Just park it there. And look at the comparison between the two. We went from this to this. So this is the first in the series of taking every car and making it as fast as physically possible, with limitations obviously. So, and that's the Astro all done. We went from a 22.2 to a 7.47 or 7.5 second run. Absolutely happy with that. Very happy indeed. So if you've enjoyed the video, guys, leave a like, a thumbs up and a comment. If you do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. And I think next time we'll be doing the AW beta. But until then, I'll see you soon.